Hi, good afternoon, everyone. My name is Danielle Ball, and I'm a librarian in the Business and Economics Department at Los Angeles Public Library. Thank you so much for being here. If this is your first time tuning in, I host these small business live streams on the first Wednesday of the month. We organize them here at the library with the Los Angeles chapter of an organization called SCORE, which provides free mentorship to entrepreneurs and small business owners. During these live streams, we cover a wide range of small business topics. Today, we are going to be going over email marketing essentials for business. So we do have an interesting presentation topic today, and we have a great presenter, someone who we've had before. Before I introduce the presenter, though, just want to go over a few things. As always, just want to let you know that we are recording this presentation. So what that means is if you have to miss any part of it or you want to rewatch it, it will be available for you here at the library's YouTube channel. And then the other thing is that we would love for you to ask any questions for the presenter. If you are viewing, what you can do is you will log into your YouTube account and you're going to type your questions into the chat box. Feel free to submit your questions at any point during the presentation. We will be holding off until the end of the presentation to answer those questions when we'll have a designated Q&A time. Okay, so with that out of the way, I would like to go ahead and introduce our presenter, Patty Ross. Patty is the owner of Golden State Marketing and has well over 20 years experience in marketing and has been in the online space since 1998, where she developed an e-commerce program for a gourmet gift company into $1 million business. She has marketing, coaching, and full service clients in financial, legal, education, health and beauty, wine, motorsports, e-commerce, coaching, landscape design, CBD and cannabis, restaurants, transportation and logistics, political activism, nonprofits, and more. Patty enjoys speaking on various marketing topics to help business owners understand the importance of marketing their brand online and offline. And just a note from me, she's been very gracious to present for the library before, and we're very glad to have her back. So Patty, I'm going to go ahead and hand it over to you to present. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it. And here we go. Email marketing essentials for business. Let me just make sure I can expand this out. There we go. So welcome, everyone. This is a very important topic, as you will learn. I'm going to show you why it's so important during this presentation, and you should be adding this to your business if you don't already do this. So to start off, you already did get an introduction to me from Danielle. Just some of this already to reiterate, I do speak all over the place, teaching marketing webinars. And one important thing too, I say as a business owner, is to make sure you get out there, make yourself present in the community, give back to the business community. So the one part that Danielle didn't mention was my board experience. So here in Los Angeles, I am currently membership director of NAWBO, which is a National Association of Business Owners. And I'm also serve on a local Venice Chamber of Commerce board as well. So if you can give of your time, whether it's on a board or a committee, get out there. It also helps your business as well. So it's another networking tool in addition to helping your business community. So always encourage servant leadership if you can. And so in the world of marketing and advertising, I know it can be a crazy, confusing world for business owners out there. Where do you spend your time and money, right? In this universe, right? So you have your traditional TV, radio, print ads, billboards, direct mail, PR, promotional products as part of your swag items are part of your mix, networking, whether it's in person or online. And then your ever expanding digital world, right? We've had websites for quite a few decades, internet ads followed that. Social media and email marketing came up 25 years. Social media has been around, which is hard to believe. Search engine optimization, text and Wi-Fi marketing, a little bit newer in the place than some of the social media and email. Retargeted ads, affiliate marketing. I did that 25 years ago for the gift basket company Danielle mentioned. So it's been around. I've been around. Social media influencers, that's fairly new job category, right? We didn't have social media influencers even 25 years ago. So I know, where do you spend your time and money? You know, today we're going to be talking about email marketing. You should have a plan in place to figure out where your customers hang out, who your customers are, so you know where to advertise, right? So not all of these are appropriate and needed for everybody. So really figuring out what that looks like for you by having a plan in place and working with a professional to figure that out. So the ROI of email marketing, I call this my drop the mic slide here, where I can just give you the stat, drop the mic and leave, but I'll go ahead and finish. But you could see here, it is the best ROI of any marketing tool, the best return on investment. For every $1 spent, you get an average of a $40 return on investment. Now, it's been this statistic for years. The Direct Marketing Association, as you can see here, puts this out. Averages 36 to 44 range. So that hasn't really changed very much in the time that we've had email marketing going on. You can see here, social media, about half of that, whether it's ads or organically. Banner ads, $2. If you're into text marketing, about $11. So you can see here, now not everybody gets $40 average return on investment, but if you're not doing any email marketing right now, and if you do, you get $10 return, 20, even $5, $3 is still triple your money, right? So this is a $4,000 return on investment, 4,000%, I should say, return on investment here. So very important. So hopefully, as I go along, I'll convince you even further, but hopefully this is the convincing slide already. And I always hear this with business owners over the 25 plus years that I've been doing this, right? I don't want to annoy my customers with too many emails or with emails. And I usually say, you guys are probably not even slightly irritating yet, right? You're probably like, well, I'm sending one once a quarter or once maybe at Christmas or once whenever I remember to do it. It's not enough, right? They do want to hear from you more often than you think. I'm going to show you some more stats on that. But I say, why are you in business if you're afraid to market to your customers? Whether you put up a billboard ad or do an email or call them on the phone or whatever that works for you, you have to reach out to them in some way. And email is very important, as you know now, important way to do that. So you don't want to be afraid to be annoying. And if people unsubscribe from your list, they are not your brand ambassadors. Right? If they decide they don't want to hear from you for whatever reason, they might not purchase from you anyways, whether they let it sit in their inbox and never unsubscribe or not, right? So don't be afraid of emailing, right? So let's keep talking emails here. I'll give you a few more stats. This is my my top 10 email marketing mistakes. Pretty standard out there. No plan in place, right? So I mentioned earlier, have a marketing plan in place. Know who your buyers are, have your goals set, do your unique selling proposition, your competitor analysis, your market research, right? Have your branding and styling and images all figured out, right? And have what tools you're going to need to use to get this all done. That's all part of building a plan out there. Again, assuming your customers don't want email. We know what we say about assuming. We don't want to do that. They do want to receive emails, and more often than you think. Not collecting emails wherever you can. I always say mantra ABC, always be collecting. I'll show you some collection options here down the road in this presentation. Not being consistent all year, right? And even if you have a very seasonal business, like a tax accountant, right? You're pretty busy right now. You're probably not sitting on this live because you're busy. It's March. But you want to be consistent. I'm working with a brand new client of mine. It's like I said, it's early part of the year, and they are holiday outdoor company. They do big, giant commercial holiday, Christmas outdoor displays and things. And we're starting to work together early part of the year. I thought, really, it's not even anywhere near Christmas, but there's plenty of stuff to do to get people to sign up, pre-plan, pre-sign up, prepay, get a contract going on there. So it's Christmas in March right now. Again, not being consistent. Do you want to be consistent with all of your marketing, social media, email all year round? Very important. No clear call to actions in your emails. We'll talk about that. Having some calls to action in there, very important. Using there really are two different things here. Using your personal email account, that's one thing. That means your Outlook, Apple Mail, Gmail to send out campaign emails, right? You shouldn't be sending out bulk campaign emails to your list just through your Outlook account. right? By BCCing everybody. It doesn't follow the canned spam rules that people being able to unsubscribe with one click that the email platforms have out there. And it could potentially cause some blocking if you're sending it just through your normal IP relay of your personal email account. So you don't want to do that. You want to use one of the email platforms. The other part of this, using a freemium email, which means you're not using a business domain email. If you have a website, www.website.com, your email should be patty@website.com and not Patty or whatever business it is at gmail.com or Hotmail or Yahoo. Those are freemium accounts. For me, it doesn't look very professional. There's also technical reasons on the authentication side of things to prove that you own that domain and you should be sending emails under this business name, right? I can spoof any of your businesses with a Gmail account or Yahoo or Hotmail or whatever you're using, but I can't spoof your domain account, right? I don't have access to it to set up my own email under your domain. So very important reasons to not be using freemium accounts for your email. Not using automations. There are different types of automations, welcome series, maybe birthdays or anniversaries, cart abandon or browse abandon are automation. So whatever that is that works for your business, there might be some ways to make sure you're consistent by using automations. Not looking at statistics, right? You can look at open rates, click rates, and of course, very important, conversion rates. Did they do the thing that you want them to do? Make a purchase, download the thing, call you, whatever your conversion action is, right? Not segmenting. So if you're just starting a list and you just have a few people on there, you might not be segmenting them, but you can also, if you do grow a list, maybe you have different things you sell, maybe you have different segments of audiences that you want to reach out with different emails. So if it makes sense for your business to segment, great, do that. Very important so that they get the message directly to them that appeals to them as well. And thinking everybody can do email, right? So yes, right. We all know how to send an email. We all can figure out email platforms. And this really comes down to also any of your marketing, your social media, et cetera, right? Make sure you have somebody in place that knows what they're doing, right? It's, as you know, from the ROI, right? You just don't want to hand it over to somebody. I hear this all the time with, especially with social media. Oh, I'll just have my teenage daughter. She's great creating Instagram reels. So I'll have her do my social media, or my son does great YouTube stuff and I'll have him do it. Don't delegate it to somebody who doesn't really, have the full strategy of social media and email. Very important that's delegated to somebody that knows what they're doing with it. So, and can do it consistently. So I say with here, take your marketing as seriously as your anything else in your business, right? Just because your daughter's great with people doesn't mean you're going to make her the HR manager, most likely, or she gets straight A's in math. Would you make her your business accountant? Right? Probably not. So just because she does cool things on Instagram doesn't mean she should be your marketing person. Maybe supplement here and there if you want, but make sure you have somebody professional or learn it yourself, and make sure you understand there is strategy behind not just throwing content out there because you think it's cool, right? So you want to do that. Take your marketing seriously. So email's not going anywhere. Sorry, folks, right? As of this year, they predict we'll have 4.6 billion users, half the world's population on email. So that would be a lot of emails to send out, right? I'm going to reach half the world's population. And then I just wanted to share this social media versus email, right? How different it is by age, right? So who's hanging out on social versus who's getting emails. And you can see here from the lower right, across the board, all age groups, even that older age group, are using emails. Right? Social media, you can see on the upper left, most of it's 40 and below, right? If you're working in an older market, especially 50 plus, 60 plus even, it's a big drop off, right? So the majority is going to be that 40 and below, especially, in that 20 to 29. So we're talking zillennials, right? The Gen Z, and then millennials are just above that. I think the oldest millennial this year is 43, I think 43 or 44. So really, if you are hitting that older market, if you want to reach my 84-year-old dad, he does check his email every day. I don't know what he gets, but he checks it. He's no longer hanging out on Facebook or any of that. So if you do have that older market, email is where you want to go. And across the board, all generations are hanging out there. And then it's usually mostly the first thing that we check beginning of the day is we check our emails versus going on social media or looking at news or search or whatever else you might be looking at. We still do. That's probably, I definitely am guilty of that as well. A few other stats here. 99% of users check their inbox every single day. I think mine's every minute or every hour. 56% are more likely to open an email if the subject line contains emojis. So compared to just a text only. So that could be an A/B testing thing that you do. Try both and see which one works better. 42% of individuals look at the sender of the email before first deciding to open it or not. So I had this come up with a client. She has a business name and she has, of course, her name. And she usually would use her business name as the from, which makes sense. And she had a friend sign up for her list, but he quickly unsubscribed. And she couldn't, she called him, offended. Why'd you unsubscribe? He's like, well, I didn't know who it was from. He didn't know her business name. So if he would have opened the email, he would have seen her bright shiny face in the picture on the email, but he just went by the name, right? So he decided not to open it based on the name. And so now we have her name at her business name as the from. So, and I do that as well for my business. So if you have a business name that some people in your list might not know, or they might not know your name, you use the other one. So that's important. Again, that could be another potential A/B testing as well. And 60% of consumers reported they have made a purchase as a result of a promotional email. So it does work. Believe me, it does work. And customers want to hear from you more than you think, right? 61% of consumers said they would like to receive promotional emails from their favorite brands, if they're on your list, on a weekly basis, folks, weekly. Not monthly, quarterly, annually, once in a while. They want to hear from you more often than you think, okay? And then if you have a cart, a shopping cart, e-commerce business, sending 3 abandoned cart emails results in almost 70% more orders in a single email. I know that stat says quite a few years ago, but it hasn't really changed. I've looked for new statistics, but it's pretty much the same. Nothing has changed there. Definitely very important to do abandoned cart emails because sometimes we forget, we walk away from our shopping or maybe change our mind, but we'll change it back again. So if you do have an e-commerce and you can do a cart abandon, very important to do that. And then the statistics you're typically looking at with your email marketing, I mentioned, definitely want to look under the hood here, is open rates, click rates, and conversion, right? So the open rates are somebody opened up the email. Now, what's deceiving about this number is that if you're looking, say, in your desktop environment and you have the preview pane open, every time I'm scrolling past that email and it's previewing it, I call it a drive-by open. So it might show I opened up the email 50 times, right? When really I might have clicked it open once or just scrolled by it and looked at it and didn't really open it. But every time, if I keep it in there, every time I scroll by it. So typically your unique open rates for campaign emails. So that means a campaign email is like your promotional email, like, hey, here's my product or service, or here's my latest class, or whatever that is, whatever that campaign is. Typically average around 18 to 20% on the high end. You could get much higher. Also depends on the size of your list and how active the list is. If you have a lot of dead weight on the list, it'll drag down your open rates, of course, but generally you're going to find about 20-ish% on the campaign emails. And you'll see as it gets higher as you go up in what type of email. So what we call transactional emails, like a welcome, your shipping or order confirmation, right? We typically will open those because we want to look at our order, of course, look at our shipping confirmation, click on that tracking number. So as you get more transactional in nature, your open rates are going to be higher on average. The click rates on the far right here, again, starting the campaign emails and working your way up to promotional or transactional emails. A little bit higher, 1 to 3%. Doesn't seem like much, but that's about average for those campaign emails. Of course, it's going to be higher for, say, shipping confirmations, because generally we're going to click on that tracking link, to check the tracking on our orders. We tend to open welcome emails, product or browse abandoned ones, of course, because we might go and shop, right? Conversion rate's pretty low, but it's like still the best conversion of any marketing tool out there. And again, it's going to get a little bit higher. Conversion can be, again, whatever I always say, whatever the thing that you want them to do. Open up an email, click on it to make a purchase, download something, check a tracking number. Those are all the conversion. They did the thing. Right. So still very, and it might be easier for some of you to track conversions than other. If you have a shopping cart and it follows along from start to finish, and you can go, okay, they got an email, they opened up the email, they clicked on the item, they made the purchase, and then you show the cart order. Some of us might be harder. You might sell a product or service in person, right? They might walk in and do it or call you on the phone to do it. So you have to be able to track, when they call, like, how did you hear about us? Or maybe give them a coupon code or a transaction code or something to mention so you can track what the conversion is, right? There's that. And then definitely personalizing the subject line it generates 50% higher open rates. We like to see our name. We like to hear our name. So if I say, hey, Patty, check this out versus, hey, check this out, I'm more likely to open it with my name, like 50% chance higher. Adding video content works, right? So up by 300%, it can increase your click rates on there. So people like video on social media and email everywhere. Definitely works. Now, this is an interesting one here. So 90% of emails generally get opened, 90 plus get opened and are received, delivered to the inbox, right? So generally higher, right? They only say less than 10%. Some are bounces, some are maybe some technical issue, but generally 90+ percent of the emails get in the box, whether they open them or not, or just sit in the box. We don't know, but they're sitting there. In comparison to social media, especially Facebook, where the organic reach is only about 2% on average. So if you have, let's just say you have 10,000 followers on your Facebook page, only about 2% on average are going to see your posts on a regular basis, right? So definitely better, right? Deliverability, eyeballs, I guess you could say, on email versus the social media, right? So if you're focusing mostly on social media and you're not focusing on email, I say flip the script right now and build your email program. Still do social, but just keep in mind, like I said, the organic, a little bit better, of course, on Instagram and LinkedIn, et cetera, but Facebook has the lowest organic reach of all of them now because there's just so much content out there. And Facebook is not showing all of your content. They're basing it on engagement and reach. How many people like it, comment, share it. And then the more people do that, the more they're going to see it. If they don't interact with the content, it's going to drop off their feed eventually. So, and people want to hear from you, at least promotional wise, via email more than they do social media anyways. So definitely you could still do both, but focus on an email program if you're not, right? So I saw a comment there, sort of like mail catalogs, right? We used to get a ton of catalogs in the mail. If I get at Christmas time, right, you get the big stacks of catalogs, and now not so much. Well, one or two for the whole season. So even any direct mail at all, right? Direct mail could still work, maybe because there's less volume, so you stand out above less noise potentially compared to an inbox. Right. And then going back to how often consumers want to hear from you, right? So you could see here, at least monthly, 85%, the 61% I mentioned, at least weekly. You could see here that huge drop off for quarterly and annually. So they do want to hear from you more often than you think they do. Okay. Very important. Given the ROI, you definitely want to be ramping that up. Okay. And then as far as picking a platform, so some of you watching this might already have a platform. You might be considering it, maybe moving. These are not all of them out there. And these aren't, I'm saying the top, what do I have, 10 here, or top 9. These are some of the popular ones out there. Constant Contact and MailChimp have been out there. I think Constant Contact, 1995. MailChimp, not that many years, but it's been out there. Very popular because they had a really generous free account. It's still have a free account. It's just less generous now. Klaviyo is one that's newer on the market. So really, it's, to me, as a marketing professional and doing this since Constant Contact was born, they're all kind of apples to apples to me, but there are different reasons you pick one over the other, right? So if you're in the decision-making process at this point, You don't want to move around too much. You want to stick with one. Is it easy to use? Right? They have their quirks and ease of use, and some you might find it easier than others. Figure out which one. If you like it and it works, use it. Don't base it on the cost. I hear this all the time. Oh, well, let's go to MailChimp because there's a free version, or hey, there's a free trial. Free trials are great, but we wind up spending more time and money chasing free than it's worth. You want to make sure that it has all of the tools and everything you need, and it's the right platform, not necessarily based just because it's cheaper, right? Or I get a free version of it, right? This is such an important tool. Remember that ROI, right? This is where you don't want to skimp, right? I like cheap and free as well as an entrepreneur, but this is where, if you're going to spend $50 or $100 a month, whatever, depending on the size of your list, invest in that, because think of that. For every $1 spent, you get a $40 plus return on average investment. So this is where you don't want to skimp. Pick the tool that's right for you right now. Okay. Do they offer automation features? That's another decision-making process. How sophisticated is their automation? This wasn't a big one. Customer support, like when MailChimp, Constant Contact kind of out there, I think there's a vertical response. There's just a few platforms, and now there's many. A big one was MailChimp didn't offer customer support, but Constant Contact, you can call them right on the phone and get somebody to help you right away. So if that's a big thing, because I'm stuck, I don't know how to do this thing I'm trying to do, let me call customer service. Where MailChimp before, I think if you pay now, you can, I think, schedule an email or phone call or something, but it's still more limited. But, check with your whatever platform you pick. Do they offer that? Are they hard to get a hold of? So that can be a consideration. Any additional features they have, spam testing, platform testing, etc., that might be important. Most of the tools out there on the lower end, I'm talking Constant Contact, MailChimp, Klaviyo, 50, whatever, $100 a month. I call that lower end. I use Salesforce when I worked at a credit union. That was $3,600 a month. So that had spam testing built into it as well. So most of them don't have it in there on the lower end, but there are outside tools you can use as well for that. And then, so my 5 C's of email marketing: collect, calendar, create, consistency, and clean. I don't think I'm going to be in that order, but you'll see those. So the first one, collect, right? We need to build a list, right? And I'm going to talk, I know the question will probably come up, can I buy a list? Talk about that in a minute, a few minutes. But organically collecting, right? On your website, you should have sign up everywhere, pop up, embedded. I'll show that in a minute. In store, if you have a physical location, you should have a collection, whether it's your POS system, an online tablet to sign up, throw in your business card into the fishbowl, whatever the collection methods are, collect, right? Social media, you can put up social media posts that say, hey, sign up for our email list. If you do event ticketing or websites, usually you get the emails from those. Wi-Fi marketing. So if you have a location that you can give away free Wi-Fi, do it where it collects information in order to give them the free Wi-Fi. There's lead magnets. I'll talk about that in a minute. Contest, events, again, networking. If you're out there and, like I said, getting out there and networking and going places and you collect business cards, ask them for permission. So as you follow up from the networking and say, hey, Bob, it was great meeting you at the local chamber mixer the other night. Love learning about what you do. Hey, by the way, I have a marketing newsletter. Would you be interested in being on my list and getting the information? Just reply back and let me know, and then I can add him to my official campaign list if he writes me back or if he says, no, thank you. So you do want to be careful. Just don't grab all the business cards and start adding everybody without that permission to do that. I would probably also, since I'm business to business, I would also go find them on LinkedIn and do a connection request on LinkedIn as well as another way to build a relationship there. So when you're adding this to your website, right, you should, best practices, if you can, upper right-hand corner, you want to go right, the second place your eyes go when you're looking. We look at things in a Z formation. So typically the upper left is generally where you're going to have your logo. You scan over to the upper right, it's the second place. You scan diagonally down to the lower left and then across to the lower right. So this is your best real estate right at the top above the fold. So if you can put it there, if you generally people shove it at the bottom in the footer, just make sure it's on every single page. And then also you could do a mail pop-up or mail gate, right? We see these all the time. So, and I would do both, right? So this is a winery that I worked with a few years back, and they only did the embedded form and they got sign up. So it worked. And it's at the bottom because this particular platform, they couldn't change the infrastructure here. So we added this sign up form. Here's Lucky Dog Winery. So we put sit, stay, join. And this was through MailChimp. And so we added the pop-up, but we also still had this embedded form at the bottom. So after a few months, I checked to see like, okay, did we increase? What happened? And MailChimp will tell you how they signed up. And what was interesting was that the numbers increased, but surprisingly, it was about 50-50. So 50% did the form, the pop-up form, and 50% did the embedded. So at least it increased the numbers, but I was figuring it would be the pop-up would be more. So that was interesting to see. So make sure it's there. And if you do an incentive, hey, get free shipping or 10% off your order, great. I get a lot of these. Obviously, I'm shopping online and they say, hey, get whatever deal here. And then they want your text as well. I prefer not to give out my phone number because I don't really like getting promotional texts because I have my phone on all the time and it's more disruptive. I mean, some people might like it. So you have to be mindful of that. Like I'd prefer can I do one or the other? Do I have to, or it can be optional that you do text? I'm ready to give you my email, but that's it. Right. I'll probably quickly unsubscribe or stop if I have to put a text in just to get a discount. And then lead magnet. So that's a little something different. So it's basically a lead magnet is you have something of value to give them and they have something of value, their email address. And you exchange that and you give them whatever you have of value once they give you their information. So this example here is Microsoft Dynamics CRM and e-customers experience cookbook. And they fill out all this information. There is a checkbox there. You can have it maybe pre-check saying sign up for our newsletter. And then they get to download the cookbook there. So if you have anything of value, white papers or top 10 lists of something, different things depending on your business. So this example here, I worked for a financial planner and he wrote a book for financial planning for women. And he had some additional white papers of financial topics that weren't in the book, but still topical. So we did a lead magnet, social media post, and then drove them to a landing page it was done through MailChimp and collected their information. And then they were sent the download. So then you were building his list with content. So some examples, if you don't have any, you can utilize the robots. We have ChatGPT or any of the other AI tools out there that help build content. You can go to the robots and say, I would like some lead magnet examples. This is, you can tell them what your business is. This is one of my clients, a business mindset coach to appeal to burned out corporate executives on how to have work-life balance for them and their employees and to prevent employee turnover. So it would spit out, these top 10 ideas here, 10 proven strategies to overcome burnout and achieve work-life balance. You can have it write the blog. I would just double check everything, make sure it's accurate, or have it at least spur some content for you to then build on. So here you have a whole bunch of ideas here for lead magnets. Another example for wineries, right? So wineries who want to appeal to both well-educated wine drinkers as well as new wine drinkers. So wine tasting 101, a beginner's guide, wine and dine recipe collection, etc. So whatever works for your business, come up with that additional valuable content and you can get it out there on social media like my financial planner did and see if you can get people there to sign up and grab that valuable content, right? They do work. And then my next C, create, right? So as the most important part, right? We need content for all of our marketing, our social media, our email, we need blogs, our website has to have content, right? It's all content all the time. So definitely don't just promote your product or services. We don't want, here's my product, here's my service, sell, right? You want to be helpful. So if you're food and beverage, you can do recipes, interviews, FAQs, case studies, your company milestones. Maybe if you have something interesting behind the scenes, maybe some images or video content, weekly tips, studies. whether it's B2B or B2C, figure out what works in between all of your promote emails. And you can even combine that, say, hey, here's some great recipes, but oh, by the way, here's our, wine that we're selling. Go to our wine shop, right? Or send them to the website with the recipe, and then hopefully they trip over your wine shop, right? And then when you're building your email, keep the design simple, right? Keep it simple. Everything is designed now, all the email platforms designed for mobile responsive, right? So that they shrink down properly for any size device that you're on. And if you design, say, in double column, it will shrink it down to a single column. But I always stick with the single column because sometimes when they wrap, it doesn't necessarily wrap cleanly depending on the different devices out there. So I just stick with the single column design. So it's going to be neat from desktop down to a mobile device, right? So make sure you have a clear logo at the front. You can either have it click directly to the homepage or even click directly to this offer, for example. They can always go find the homepage later, but we want them to buy this wine, right? So again, a clear, nice hero image, could be a video as well, but in this case, we're using a hero image. Clear calls to action. I mentioned that as well in the top 10 list, right? We have one somewhat above the fold, the top, purchase, and then we have a description of what this offer is, and then another one at the bottom. So 2 clear calls to action on here, nice clean image, your logo there, everything is there that you need to know for this order. And then your subject line and your preview line or pre-header line, very important, right? We mentioned in that, the name versus your personal name. Now, most people know Sagacio Family Vineyards if they're on the list, right? We have 3 highly rated Zinfandels, 1 amazing offer. So I'm already, okay, that's intriguing. And then you have your preview line if they have that showing, right? Everything is there. It's like, here's a Cortina vertical, here's the price, shipping included, it's highly rated, here are the points, right? Everything you need to know before I even look at the email and if I'm interested or not. So whether they're known for their Zinfandel, so probably people will be intrigued already with that. And again, here's another example, a little bit older email if you can't tell from the social media icons there, but I got this in my email box and I saw the subject line, lobster feast ticket selling quickly, even though I hate seafood. I want to see, well, is this like scarcity thing or false scarcity thing? So when I open the email, I can see very clearly at the top, the logo kind of looks like a website, navigation at the top, lobster feast. Here's all the details. Here's pictures of people enjoying the lobster from previous event. There's a call to action. The first one is get my tickets because it says no walk-ins, RSVP only. And then it continues on here with the menu. And then, hey, if you happen to join the wine club, you get a discount on it. So you can hit the join button there, right? We have our social media links there as well. So very clear, everything is covered. There we go. Here's some other examples. This was done during COVID, the COVID year, which is like 5th year anniversary now. So when COVID hit, right, people were home drinking wine, baking bread, watching Tiger King on Netflix. Remember that 5 years ago? I didn't get that COVID sign up sheet there. But this particular client, right, they decided we're going to send lots of wine. They had a lot of wine stocked up. Nobody could come drink it or taste it in person. So we did a buy one case, get one case for $1. So BOGO deal. So very clear logo. It's BOGO time. 2 calls to action, one at the top, one at the bottom, what the wines are. You have your social media links, your social sharing links at the top. Everything is there, and don't miss out. Who wouldn't go to buy one case, get one case for $1. And then basic email setup. This is from MailChimp, but they're all pretty standard, right? You have your to, your from, the subject line, and your content, right? And generally the to, you can have it, depends on your platform. You can have it just say to Patty at pattyannross.com. Or if you have the name, if you should collect their full name, you can have it do a merge tag where it inserts the name. So it looks more familiar. Like I gave them some additional information and they actually have it say, hi, Patty, for the first time in history as well. So they obviously have more than just my email address there. So it depends on your platform if you can do what's called merge tags and insert whatever names you have in there. And then again, the from, going back what I said about my client whose friend unsubscribed and because he didn't know the business name. So I would put on here And it doesn't show it on the slide, but I would put Patty Ross at Virtually for You, is an old business name of mine, instead of just Patty Ross. So this way I have both there. If they don't see my email address, they'll see that name. So you can put a name. I would say use an email address with a person's name on it rather than info at or website at or something that's generic, because this way people think, okay, well, Patty's getting these emails, it's going to her box. And if they want to respond or hit a reply, they'll think, okay, even though you probably respond to your info at, it just looks more personal if you can do that. Make one up. Fred at, if you don't have a Fred, have it go to that, but a personal name definitely works better. And again, we already talked about the subject and preview lines here, just gave a couple examples, so I'll go through that. And then subject lines, very important, right? I already showed you some of that. Almost 50% of emails open based on the subject line alone, right? So here's some quick examples here, right? You can be informational, big news, new stores opening soon. Clever and catchy, keep those buns warm, put a ringtone on it. Personal, thanks for joining, Joe, right? If you can do the merge tag to insert on the subject line. Urgent, 2 days left to register, or scarce, right? Lobster ticket selling quickly, remember? How to grow your list, how to remove stains, right? The list, we love lists. Top 10 or 10 pieces to add to your wardrobe now. Ask a question, how safe are your family jewels? All right, some examples here. Local, hot in Houston, this week's events. Command, subscribe to our monthly, join us, stop wasting your money, right? And offer. So a lot of different things to try out. This is the top thing that you would do an A/B test on. Maybe try two different subject lines that are similar, but offer something a little bit different. So there's a clear difference on them and why people might click on it or not. Some other examples, FOMO, right? Fear of missing out. You're missing out on points. Your 7-figure plan goes bye-bye at midnight. Curiosity, right? What they eat in prison. I don't know if I want to know that. 9 disgusting facts about Thanksgiving. Funny, right? We always like funny. We like being used. Yes, I'm pregnant. You can stop staring at my belly now. Use ChatGPT to come up with some clever, catchy, subject lines as well for you. Vanity, don't wear last year's styles, age-defying beauty tricks. Greed, right? We're 2 for 2, 25% off your favorites. Sloth, right? A native ad in 60 minutes or less. 212 blog post ideas. So lots of great ideas here. Some more pain points, right? Where do all these toys go? Stop wasting money on ink, right? Retargeting, again, that's kind of I'm deleting your account. Hey, you're missing out on the card. Hey, forgot something. That would be the card abandon, right? So it's retargeting. So they already did an action. So you're coming back again to follow up on that missed action. Personal, again, using the name, Mary, check out these hand-picked tools rather than check out these hand-picked tools. Right? Our name is going to get our attention. You can be basic, right? Here, hey, this is a fundraising email, very straightforward. Boring works. Don't make them all boring, but newsletter, company, staff shirts and photos, sales and marketing newsletter. Those could also work. They have a good open rate, as you see here. And so just to give you a quick case study. So this was a client I worked with a couple of years back. I'm proud to say I no longer work with her, but I'll tell you why that is in a minute. So when she came to me, she was doing email. She has collagen creamer, so you would put in coffee. And in addition to the collagen benefits, which is good for your hair, nails, skin, etc., good because we lose collagen as we age. But she also had the addition of MCT oil in there to help with better focus and energy. Cocoa, one of the products for help with blood flow to the brain, so good for memory. Prebiotic fiber to help with gut health as well. So a lot of good benefits to it. But when she first came to me, she was doing the emails, but just promotional, like, okay, what do I do besides tell them, here's my product? And I said, well, who's your clients? And she said, well, women generally age, like 20 to 100, every single woman out there, it's over 20. I'm like, well, I don't know if that is, you need to niche this down a little bit. So I wrestled the alligator with her, I call it, and which is try to narrow her down. And we looked at all the benefits of this. And I'm like, well, does a 20-year-old worry about losing collagen? And, maybe they have brain fog and they have gut health issues perhaps. But generally, I was looking through this and thinking about her product, I said, you really should focus on an older market. and specifically women who are going through menopause. So we're talking, say, 45, 50 plus, right? Because a lot of these issues that women in menopause have are solved or helped along with these benefits, these ingredients. So she was reluctant, of course, to cut down her potential audience. I'm saying, well, if you try to focus on all of them, you're going to focus on nothing, right? A 25-year-old is going to have different issues than a 55-year-old, right? Or 30-year-old or an 80-year-old. So I said, well, luckily enough, I happen to have another client here in Los Angeles that has a menopause conference every year. And one was coming up, and I said, Jen, why don't you, vend at the conference? And she's okay. So she did, and she sold out of all of her product. So she said, okay, you proved the point. Let's do it. So she started rolling out emails after attending this class, finding all the different types of subject lines out there. She changed up the content to focus on that niche. So here's the first one. Bye-bye brain fog hot cocoa recipe. Brain fog is definitely a menopause symptom. She has a nice recipe here to make that chai. Here's one. Leave brain fog, cravings, and low energy in 2022. Again, targeting that audience. Love Starbucks chai. Try this healthy swap. Again, not necessarily targeted the audience, but definitely, hey, Starbucks drinkers, all right? I love their chai. Get that healthy glow, 70% off our best sellers. There's a special, and of course, want healthy glowing skin. One simple hack to reduce fine lines and hydrate skin. Definitely an older audience has fine lines and hydration issues more so than a 20-year-old. Again, so we're targeting. Want 18% fewer wrinkles and fine lines. Again, target audience. Our best deal of 2023, complimentary collagen. Who doesn't want something for free? So there we go. There. Okay. I'm advancing my slide. Anxiety, the hidden costs and what to do. Scarcity, only 5 tubs left with the running woman emoji. Remember emojis? People like emojis. And for some reason not advancing for me. Share your feedback for a free gift. So she did a little survey, trying to get some advice and information. We've never done this before. Curiosity. Remember that one? Because we adore you, did a little Valentine's Day gift. Want to sleep like a baby tonight. Insomnia, definitely part of menopause symptoms here. And a little Valentine's Day gift for you. She gave her a little free screen wallpaper. Top 5 causes of hair loss in women. Again, a list, an emoji, and it's definitely targeting our audience because hair loss is also an issue with menopausal women. You're invited to a glowing skin workshop. That definitely hits her target market. Top 8 home remedies for hair loss. Again, targeting with a list, right? So as I mentioned, I'm no longer working with her. Shortly after working with her, the beginning of the next year, she wound up selling the company. So after targeting and then promoting to the right audience with the right messaging, right, it grew her business and she was able to sell it and move on. So that's why I say I'm proud no longer to be working with her. So listen to me, do your emails, do your subject lines, and maybe you too, if you want to sell your company. So moving on to content, most important C out there. I want to make sure we cover this on this short time. So, right, whether you're doing your social media, your email, your blogging, right, it's a lot of content to do. So put your content on a journey, right? Map it out. Now, there's no special tool, template, or anything. You guys can scratch it out on a chalkboard or a piece of paper, whatever works for you. I just wanted you to see this visual, right? Because your maps are going to be all different. So this is maybe extreme example where you could take one blog post and turn it into 33 pieces of content, right? So say, for example, we did a blog post and my business is, I sell dog treats. Right. And so my blog post is the top 5 healthiest dog treats out there. And so I do one blog post and then I'm going to send it out via email. Okay. There's another piece of content. And then maybe I'm going to send it out via YouTube, my Instagram reels, my Facebook, Pinterest, whatever ones I use, my TikToks. Maybe I split it into 5 different videos, one treat per video, or I do them all together as one. However you want to split that out, build anticipation for the list. So map out whatever it looks like for you. I just want to encourage you to map out your content's journey, because we tend to look at our content as silos. Like I got to do a blog post here, an email here. I got to do social posts. Think of it as like reduce, reuse, recycle, right? In a way. How can you reuse that content in your social media and sync it all together? Okay. So first thing is to figure out in social media and email as well as there's 4 different content types or 4 buckets, and then there's content pillars. So your content types fit into 4 buckets, right? Your promotional, which you're probably all good at that, right? Here's my product, here's my service. Inspirational content could be success stories, motivational quotes, testimonials, behind the scenes. Educational, that covers a lot of different things, how-tos, FAQs, etc. Interactive could be quizzes, polls, contests, right? Q&A sessions. That might be more for social media than email. And then you have your pillars. Oops, I'm going to go back 1 slide. Went too fast. The pillars, as it says here, it's basically the key topics and themes your brand content will revolve around. So if you're thinking like, what can I post on social media on a regular basis, weekly basis? What are the themes that we can do based on these content types? What does that look like? So think of the pillars, like the columns on the Parthenon in Athens holding up what's left of the roof, right? What are those strongest pieces of themes that you can do for your business? So examples here, and again, use the robot. Go to say, I need content pillars for my business. This is what I do. If you have the paid version, you can put in your website. So for example, maybe the top 4 out of here would be in thinking of those 4 content types, something educational like wine education, promotions and special offers, right? And then maybe pairings and recipes and community engagement. The other pillars here might be ones I call sub pillars. I don't necessarily have a lot of testimonials and reviews that I can do weekly, but I can sprinkle those in as needed. Or I have maybe 1 or 2 stories about sustainability practices. I can kind of sprinkle those in but your 4 core pillars of content that you can do on a weekly basis, right? So for a skincare brand, maybe it's skincare education, product spotlights, lifestyle and awareness, and skincare education, right? So the others, again, sprinkle in as you have testimonials or sustainability practices or whatever, but you pick your 4 strongest, right? Travel agency could be travel tips and advice, travel deals and promotion, local culture and tradition, and destination spotlights. And then the rest are kind of the sub pillars, right? If you're a nonprofit, you probably all, whatever your cause is, have similar pillars, right? You're going to share impact stories, volunteer donor spotlights, of course, events and fundraisers, money, 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 right? And maybe advocacy and activism. And you can sprinkle in stories about, community engagement and behind the scenes kind of stuff there. So hopefully that makes sense with the content pillars. And then building a content calendar, most important part, right? I always say, take away the overwhelm, right? By having a process in place. And I break it down into 3 parts here, right? And I say, if you're doing all of it yourself, block your time off in your calendar to do this each month and try to work a month ahead, right? So I always say, if you're like, we're, say beginning of March and you're working on April content, so you should be working on planning the first part of March, end of February, whatever month it is, doing the planning, right? Filling out the calendar, figuring out what the content's going to look like. A couple hours a month, perhaps, to do that, to fill out the calendar. And then the creation part's going to be your biggest part. Got to create the social media posts, the videos, the blogs, the emails, etc., whatever that block of time you give yourself each week to do that. And then scheduling it. Using social media scheduling tools, scheduling your blogs, scheduling your emails. That might be a few hours out of the month as well. But block it on your calendar to honor those times, okay? And then the Google Calendar that I have, and hopefully we can include that on the YouTube channel with the library, is a Google Sheets document, and I'm going to show you all the different tabs on here. So on here, and some of this is for social media specifically, and others for email as well. But there's a tab for hashtag days, and I'll show you how to use those on the calendar. And there we go. And then if you want to create your content pillars, there's a ChatGPT prompt, both for the free and the paid version. And you can put your content pillars here that spit out from there and figure out which ones are going to be your top ones. And then holidays are on here as well. So national holidays, fun holidays that are out there. So different than Christmas and New Year's and Valentine's Day. These are from nationaldaycalendar.com. So they could be directly related to your business or something just to get engagement. Like it's National Peanut Butter and Jelly Day. What's your favorite PB&J combo as a kid, right? That elicits engagement, which gets you more reach. There is a National Logistics Day for my transportation logistics client there. So again, engagement and reach, and they can be used on social media and email. So for example, winery client, work with wineries, and there's National Chardonnay Day. So if the winery sells Chardonnay, you can do, hey, we're going to do a 3-pack of Chardonnay special for that day. I'll post it on social media. We'll send emails out for that. So those can be used potentially. You might not send the National Peanut Butter Day question out on email, but anything that might be promotional that you can use. And then filling out the calendar as well. So if you get the calendar, get to download the calendar, and you can always reach out to me at the end here to get it. You fill it. This would be blank, and you fill it out with the color coding there. You have holidays, events, your email campaigns, your website blog, your LinkedIn articles if you're doing LinkedIn for B2B, social media posts, which would be the graphics or text, social media stories, so Instagram or Facebook stories, and then social media video. So whether that's Reels, TikToks, YouTube Shorts, etc., just one general category. And so filling out this calendar, you put in all of your events, your emails on here, your social media posts, you figure out what stories, what there you can see here. We use hashtags, Motivation Monday and Wellness Wednesday. So you put on there, we're going to do a social media post, and specifically like on Wellness Wednesdays, we put, I'm going to do a skincare tip on vitamin C or sun protection. So you want to be specific on what your posts are going to be about for planning and archive purposes as well. And then you plug in what email. So you can see here, we're syncing up our social media, our email, our blogs on here. And if you're B2B, it works exactly the same. If you're business to business, you might not be focusing on, say, National Spaghetti Day, unless that's your business, but it works exactly the same. You can send out your emails, you do social media posts, you do your LinkedIn articles and newsletters. So again, works exactly the same for filling out the calendar. And then a couple of additional pages here. This is for your social media posts for you to lay them all out. So I use this for my private clients and myself that want to approve the content before it goes out. So they can edit it and approve it here, and I can review it here with them. And everything is laid out, the captions, the hashtags, the links, and then the image is dropped here so they can actually review it. But then I use this to go and post it I schedule it out on social media using a scheduling tool. So there's also a blog tab, so you can keep a running list of all the blogs that you're creating here for approval or not. And then emails, right? So we had an email on there. You can lay out all of your emails that you're doing, your links that you're going to include, the images that you'll use, your subject and preview line. So that's all laid out for you here as well. So again, using a tool is going to help you coordinate everything. So very important if you use this one or use any calendar out there, getting coordinated will help smooth out some of the overwhelm. It's still a lot of work if you're doing it yourself, but it will take away some of that overwhelm if you get a process in place, right? So a few more minutes. I'm going to go over a little bit just to alert Danielle. I'm going to continue on here, but this should be quick. So cleaning, right? So not the very sexy part of the C's there, but the final one here on the cleaning is definitely make sure you're cleaning, you're checking once they bounce, you're checking for obvious typos, right? Because all of those are worth, right? For every dollar spent, $40 return on investment. So you don't want to lose any of your investment here. So if there's any that are obvious that you can fix, hard bounces would be a typo one or a bad address now, no longer available, blocked for some reason. Soft are generally vacation auto replies or their mailbox is full, things that could be obviously fixed. I tend to drop off the mailbox full ones. I delete them because I'm like, even if they clean their email, they probably just going to fill it again. They're not reading anything. And it's just dead weight, right? Definitely removing inactive content, inactive emails, because that does drag down your list. You can generally look at activity history. Depends on your platform. They usually rank it or show you, like, this person opens your email, they never click on anything. So you might, I know with Constant Contact, which I use, they'll break them down into that most engaged, least engaged, somewhat engaged, I think are the 3 categories. So I've actually looked at the least engaged after, maybe a year. And if they're not engaging, I figure, they're probably not going to, and drop them off the list, right? And can you re-engage in active contacts? So here's an example, a case study. It's a client I worked with years ago, and they hired me to build their email list, right? Because they're older audience. They import wine from France, from Burgundy, France, and they already were pretty prolific with emails. But the problem was, which, lost a lot of money potentially, is he never looked under the hood to see what was happening with his customers who stopped ordering. So he would send out emails every week with great specials, 30, 40% off, but all of them were like case specials for $500 plus, 700 and then 100. He got some orders, but what he didn't look at was he didn't go look under the hood and see that he had a bunch of customers who hadn't purchased for a couple of years, who never purchased above $300, right? They weren't going to aspire up to $700, $900 orders, so they stopped purchasing. So we're like, okay, let's just do some smaller $300-ish orders. And guess what? We raised the dead, right? Not the literal dead. I can't do that. But people hadn't purchased for 2 years. So imagine that loss, like going back to that $40 ROI. If they had paid attention to their list and seeing, hey, there's people who are not purchasing at those specials and they felt left out. If they purchase $300 a month, or sorry, not a month, that'd be nice. $300 3 times a year. Let's just say they replenish 3 times a year. I'll just round it up to $1,000. And I think there was at least 20 plus clients that had dropped off. Just calculate that out in your head. $20,000 potentially lost each year that he didn't look under the hood. And that was just when he hired me. I don't know how many years back that they had other customers, but I could see they hadn't purchased for 2 years. So that's potentially $40,000 plus in those 2 years until I looked under the hood for them. So pay attention, segment. Maybe they only like white wine, but you keep sending mixed wine deals. So if you can see, oh, okay, let me send a white wine deal to my white wine drinkers. You don't want to tune people out because you're sending them information that doesn't apply to them, right? Kind of like Jen with the creamer, might not be interested in wrinkles and stuff like that. So going through this real quick here, the spam part of it, I'm not going to read all of this, but very important, be very careful. If you're going to purchase a list, keep in mind there are some things that could hurt you if you do. The lists are never 100% clean. Do not trust anybody who's selling you lists. They're always going to be dirty. You should run it through a list cleaner. There's definitely third-party cleaners out there. Do not use an email platform as your list cleaner. Don't dump a bot list into MailChimp, for example, or Constant Contact, and then get over 10% bounces, which could happen. They will kick you off their platform because they're wondering, how old is this list? Where'd you get it, etc. The other issue that could happen is if you get a high spam rate. So say, for example, they unsubscribe and say, I never signed up for this list. If you get over 10%, they're going to blacklist you off of their list because that hurts their reputation as well. So you want to be very careful with that. You want to regularly clean your list up. Again, as I mentioned earlier, making sure if you can sunset them out of the list if they're no longer engaging at all or haven't ever engaged. Make sure you're always sending valuable content. Check for spammy keywords. This thing in the middle, authenticating your domain, that's just making sure that, again, that's why you use a domain email and not a Yahoo address or Gmail address. Is these platforms need to know that you own that domain, and basically it involves your domain talking to your domain host and making sure they're connected. So with your email platforms, they can walk you through the authentication process. They're clamping down on that quite a bit. List cleaning service, zerobounce.net is one that I use for list cleaning, making sure you clean it before you bring it into your platform. List appending is if you have old addresses and you have another piece of information like a phone number or a physical address, it might do some matching on there as well to be able to get a new email address. So there's that option. And there are spam tools out there. If your platform doesn't have a spam tool, mail-tester.com is free. It works. You go open this up in your browser, you grab that email address it generates for you, put it as a test email in your platform, send it, and then come back here and check your score. And it will give you a score and things to fix on here. And you can test it, I think, up to three times total to fix that. So it's saying you're not authenticated. You have probably some spammy keywords in there to fix as well. So definitely run the spam tester before you send out your emails. And then just a checklist before you send. Make sure you check everything, right? Check your copy, hyperlinks, click on all the hyperlinks, make sure they work. I always like clicking on them or mouse over them to make sure they're correct, but I click on them just to make sure. Subject line is correct. You have your preview line, send yourself a test, do the spam test, check for flaws, check, right? I don't know how many thousands and thousands of emails I've sent over 25 years. I still sweat before I send that, hit that test button, right? And then quickly on A/B testing, I've alluded to this a few times. It's basically doing testing against two different things and to see which one works better. So then maybe switch to the one that works better. So the subject line, definitely, as I mentioned, trying different subject lines, maybe one with an emoji, one without, trying with your name and without your name. You can test different days of the week. You don't have to necessarily A/B test against it. Maybe send your email on a Monday and then again on a Wednesday, different times to see if that makes any difference at all. So, and then just being consistent, right? Have a plan in place, right? Consistency and frequency matters. One time is not enough, right? Because we all are different human behaviors, right? So for example, if I do my classes, I teach classes all the time and I send out emails. If I just sent one out like a few weeks before, you might have missed it and then you don't see my classes. So I always go off of human behaviors and think about, I always relate it to Christmas shoppers, right? So we have those special people who are Christmas shoppers in July, right? You get it done early and you probably do everything that way. You do every early bird on everything. Then you have the Christmas shoppers that are like, oh, okay, I'll wait till Black Friday. Let's still have a month to go before Christmas, after Thanksgiving. And then you have those of us who are like, oh, it's Christmas, December 24th. I still have plenty of time. So think of your email openers, your email subscribers the same way, right? Somebody might sign up for an event as soon as they see it a month before, some a few weeks before. And then some of you might have signed up for this like the morning of when you got my final email in the morning, right? So follow those human behaviors. None of them are wrong. We're all special, right? But go off of that, knowing that one time they might not see that email, right? Remind them again. So you want to do at least the 3, especially, hey, we're running a promotion. It's, for the whole month of March. Send it at the beginning, the middle, and just at the end as well, right? You see that a lot with big senders out there. They're going to send you quite frequently as well. So honor those different behaviors, right? And be consistent, as I mentioned earlier, right? Everybody gets blasted in fourth quarter, and then we're kind of quiet down in January to October, but that means your sales potentially do as well. So if that's cool with you, then only send in November, December, and October, right? And then, so when do you send? Very important, right? Days of the week. And these statistics haven't really changed over the 20 plus years. I've been doing it that long. Generally, beginning of the week, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday are your best days, usually 9 to noon, sometimes in the afternoon. So that 9 to 3 spot gets your highest engagement and opens. So whether, even if you try it on a Sunday, you can see here the open rates and our days and times are not as strong, but try it for your list. No harm. I've sent emails out on a Sunday afternoon. I'm mostly to business owners that are probably working around the clock like me, and I get some lift there, so you can try out those different times. But generally the email platforms know they're based on their algorithms of opens when people are most likely to open up your emails, right? And then this is the final thing here, email automations. So there's a lot of different things you can do for email automations. Welcome new contacts and you welcome new customers. Abandoned carts are automations. Birthdays, if you collect that information. Doing online reviews. These are all from MailChimp, but they're all pretty standard here. Might only apply if you're selling online, like cross-selling and rewarding VIP customers, etc. So figure out what works for you. If you're doing events, maybe you're doing event retargeting and automation around that. Different things. MailChimp, when I first started using it, had a very basic workflow. I think they still have it, but Constant Contact has this where if I'm sending out an email, as I'm sending it out, I can go, oh, hey, 2 days later, send it to everybody who didn't open it the first time. That's very basic workflow. But you can do more sophisticated automations like what we call if this, then that. So here you see there's a welcome email sent. We wait a few days. We send an article, wait a few more days. did they click on it? If yes, we send an invitation to webinar. If no, we send to download the latest ebook, and then we stop the automation. Pretty simple. You can do an abandoned cart email. You can see here, we abandon the cart, and depending on the actions that happen, whether they purchase the tickets or not, we do different actions here. Okay. And then a really fun one is what's called a multi or omni-channel campaign, where we're involving other channels, right? We're sending out an email. Did they RSVP? Yes. Hey, we're going to send a postcard now. And then we're going to add them to our text list, and then text them a reminder. If they didn't, we're going to send the alert to the sales team to follow up, maybe phone call, and then send another email, and then maybe do a social media retargeting campaign. So whatever that omni-channel looks like for you, that you can do that, or just do it all via email as well. So to wrap up, finally, a few minutes over here, don't forget to segment if you can. Definitely gets better conversion. Automate where you can. Always test. Be consistent throughout the entire year, of course. Have a plan in place, or it won't get done right or at all, typically. And then track your results. Look under the hood and look at your numbers, what's working, what's converting, and never give up. It works. Email works, as you can see. Hopefully, are you all convinced? I know I can't get any yeses to that, but I'm sure some of you are convinced this does work. So next steps, definitely evaluate your efforts. See where you're at now. What do you need to do to expand your efforts? Understand what your current capacity and resources are to get that done. What are the opportunities to grow? And then, of course, having a strategy in place. So you are welcome to schedule on the right, to scan that QR code, schedule a free strategy session with me to talk about your email plan, or go to callwithpatty.com. I also have a marketing lab group on LinkedIn. You can scan the QR code on the left. It's a place for you to come introduce yourself. You can blatantly promote yourself on here, as long as it's nothing illegal. I have no rules there. Introduce yourself, links to your site. What do you do? There's, 1,400 people in the room now. Ask questions. I answer questions there as well. So join in on the marketing lab. So that is the end of my presentation. I don't know if Danielle, we have time for some questions or not. I think I saw a couple come in.
Yeah. If we could just go over, this is sort of a niche question from a viewer. Do you have any promotion tips regarding emails for book authors?
Yeah, that one, book marketing is so specific. I mean, if you're doing your own publishing rather than working with a publisher, they usually have marketing plans as well. So you can do social media. You can promote your book via email if you have a list, but you might look for book specific marketing people. I've only done some minor book, the financial book, and then another book that it was an exposure of the mafia, written by somebody I don't even know his name. He's in witness protection, so he is a pseudonym. But yeah, pretty typical social media email. There might be things you can do on Amazon as well, but that's more specific book marketing that I don't do any longer, so I wouldn't have any specific on that.
Great.
Yeah.
I was kind of putting together a list of questions that I had for you, and you were answering them just as soon as I was coming up with them. So it was very thorough, yet not boring at all, listening to you. So I was happy. One of the questions was about the automation and what, the platforms that offer that. I wasn't sure if that was referring to more like AI, AI content automation, or if it was those like those scheduled emails, and so you answered that, and those really sophisticated if then email campaigns, that was very interesting. So and then this wasn't a question from me, but you had gone over how to kind of create your lists and doing it in an organic way, very specific to what you said was B2B, which is business to business. And I know you said you can pay for those types of lists, right? We, just to kind of promote the library, we actually have some databases and things that entrepreneurs, small business owners can use to kind of put a lot of those types of B2B like lists together, and it's free to use. So I just wanted to promote that, and so thank you so much for bringing that up. For those of you that are viewers that are interested in those types of resources that the library has, you would just go to, let me just pull it up here. This is the library website. And then you would go to services and programs, and you could do something called Book a Librarian, which you then submit your research question, like I want to create a company list because I want to do B2B marketing, and a librarian can get back with you and help you utilize the databases that the library has. So just wanted to point that out since this is the library after all. Patty, we are at time, and I don't see any other questions from the audience. But it was amazing. Thank you so much. For those of you that are viewing, thanks for tuning in. I did want to just point out again that Patty has presented for us before. You can view those all kinds of marketing topics, and you can see that her older videos here on the library's YouTube channel. I did link the last one. If you go to look down at the description box, and you might have to expand it, but at the bottom it's the link to her last one that she did with us, which was very interesting, and it was having to do with creating marketing graphics, your digital graphics using a platform called Canva, and it was amazing. So please check that out. And yeah, we're definitely at time, so we're going to go ahead and sign up. Thank you so much, Patty, and thank you for everybody for joining us. All right.
Thank you, everyone.
Have a good one. Bye.